Dune may not get a sequel. Yes, the director of photography has seemingly lined up some potential tidbits of info to say that there will not be a sequel to Dune, but then also some absolutely fantastic information as well. That, as well as some information on Godzilla vs. Kong and HBO Max on today's wrap-up of the pop culture news. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the video. My name is Mr. H, Mr. H Reviews. If you are new here, please do hit subscribe. You may enjoy what I have on offer. Also, have you seen this? This is the poster to my original high-concept horror fantasy film. Yes, I'm making a film. If you want to support that, please do check out the GoFundMe. It is linked down below. For the price of a coffee, so what, $5, I guess, you can actually enter in for a chance of winning a prop. So check it out down below. There's a link there. You can see it all. There's also a Teespring merch. You can buy this poster. I really like it, hence why it's framed on my wall. But let's dive right into today's video. Right, so like I say, this is over on Collider. They had an interview with Greig Fraser, yes, the director of photography on Denis Villeneuve's Dune. And he revealed some interesting stuff. We'll get all of the good stuff out of the way first, and then we'll discuss that potential little tease that there may not be a sequel. And that's important because this is only the first half of a book. So if there's not going to be a sequel, interesting, I think. Interesting take anyway. Now, straight from the off, he actually discusses the similarities between Dune, i.e. the book, and Star Wars, which is fairly well documented. Not a lot of people will deny that. It is very, very hard to deny, to be perfectly honest. And he says it was quite fun because I had to forget a lot of Star Wars when I was making Dune. It wasn't hard because Denis and I spoke clearly about how the film should look and should feel, and the formats and this and that. So it was not hard to swerve and change lanes. There were some similarities, like the deserts, which, yeah, absolutely. I believe some of the Rise of Skywalker was shot in Jordan, as well as the original, if I remember rightly. Obviously, this was shot in Budapest, for the most part, I believe. Now, obviously goes further and says, I mean, listen, ultimately I'm positive George Lucas was inspired by Dune when he made Star Wars. I don't know if that's sacrilegious to talk about, but there are a lot of similarities in some areas. So you could tell he was definitely influenced by that. And it was. There'll be some detractors out there that will try and deny it, but it's par for the course. It's well known. So I had to be careful doing both Dune and The Mandalorian and not to repeat myself. Good. What a great way to flex your skills, right? To work on two projects fairly inspired, one inspired by the other, and to obviously swerve and try to make them different from one another to differentiate. Very, very good. Also, not just for the sake of the movie, but for fun. I hate to do the same thing twice. Good. That's a good DP right there. Now, obviously, this is where we get to with respect to some of the stories. So he says it's a fully formed story in itself with places to go. It's a standalone epic film that people will get a lot out of when they see it. It was quite an adventure visually. It was a beautiful experience making it, and the people involved with it, I was overwhelmed. Some of the actors, as well as being insanely talented actors, are just lovely, lovely people who I've become very close to since then. Now, how does this pertain to maybe not getting a sequel? Well, he's setting it up to say, look, it's a one story. This is a standalone story. It's a standalone epic. It works as a story. And that's not something you want to hear overly when there's a sequel planned or should have a sequel. And this is the problem that I have with this. And it's only small. It's just that small little subconscious. We're just going to lay it down. And we'll lay it in people's minds, and then we'll revert back to it every now and then. Do you know what I mean? So this is one of those things that I look at and I go, ooh, okay. There's reasons why people say stuff, right? It's a fully formed story in itself with places to go. And yeah, it is. But it's still only the first half of a story. There's still the rest of it to go into. And, we knew this from the off. So it's funny how things have been changing and twisting, right? We knew right when they announced this was only going to be the first half of the book, and they wanted to do another one, right? And apparently that was part of it as well. That was part of the agreement. Denis had discussed things with Warner Brothers, and they said, yeah, we'll shoot them, but they're not shooting back to back. And obviously there is a reason for that, age and things like that. They need the actors to age, but still somewhat worrying, because again, Denis doesn't have a track record of making a lot of money. He makes epic films, but he doesn't always make a lot of money. In fact, for, I think it was Sony's Blade Runner, Sony that did Blade Runner 2049, they lost a lot of money on that production. And I don't think it deserved to lose any money. I thought it was a very good film. But track record's not great. And this is Warner Brothers. They're doing a massive investment in this. Whew, it'd be interesting to see if they get to make the sequel. And I would say some of this is a hint that there is plans, or at the very least it is hinging on that they will or they won't make a sequel. Now, obviously, there's some other commentary here. It says, as for his working relationship with Villeneuve, the two got along extremely well. Okay, so he says, I can tell you that Denis is a master and a lovely human being who is passionate and wild and sensitive and loving. What I love about Denis is French Canadians and Australians tend to have a lot of similarities in that we can get a bit passionately aggressive when we need to be. The French Canadians can be very, very passionate about life and things, so I found getting on with him really well on that. And also Patrice, the production designer, I think we all had the same thing of if something wasn't good, it'd be like, that's bullshit. And Patrice would be like, yep, that's shit. They wouldn't pull punches, which I found awesome, and we had the same relationship. That's great. Like, that's great, isn't it? Like, how awesome is that? Good. So there you go. Look, this is still set to release December of 2020. Still this year, so good, I guess. But there you go, an update. I still think this does imply that they are laying the framework, the groundwork, for potentially a sequel not happening based on, obviously, profits and losses and things like that. But again, it's not all doom and gloom. This is epic. This is fantastic stuff. Now, what do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comment section. Secondly, Adam Wingard over on Instagram. What's he doing? Right, well, Godzilla vs. Kong is rated PG-13 for intense sequences of creature violence, destruction, and brief language, right? Now, PG-13, I did an update video on this. I'll maybe leave it linked above. PG-13 is fine for these films. Perfect. No issue. Rated R doesn't make any sense. I don't think it makes any sense at all. But anyway, a lot of people seem to be somewhat concerned by the fact that it's going to be PG-13. And Adam Wingard has seemingly quoted some of that by going, that's an understatement. There you go. That's the update. This is a bit of commentary. Obviously, Mike Doherty has liked that as well, which is great. Everyone's singing from the same tune, right? That's awesome. Nothing else outside of that, to be perfectly honest. I think it is just about quelling some of the nerves and concerns, which are rightly, in fairness, which are actually rightly there for Adam Wingard. He did do a garbage flick for Netflix, and it's terrible. So there are some concerns for him working on the production of this film. We hope that he's going to do very, very well. And obviously, I wish him all the best. You know, I don't want this film to be bad in any way, shape, or form. But it does need to be noted that yes, he did make a trash film for Netflix. But I have hope. You know, again, probably a little bit dumb, maybe a little bit naive with that, but I still have some hope for this. And again, it's massive bias. Of course, people know on this channel I do like giant monsters floating about, Godzilla and Kong. I'm a big child for giant monsters. So yes. Anyway, lastly, and again, leave your thoughts down below. Maybe does this quell any of your concerns? I don't know. Who knows? But leave your thoughts down below. Now, lastly, we do have a little bit of a commentary with respect to HBO Max. It's not massive. It's very, very small, and it's just to do with quality and sound, which is one of those things on streaming. But this, I don't think, is actually very honest. So HBO Max head Tony Goncalves knows subscribers want 4K picture quality. As far as my research shows me, you don't get true 4K on streaming. So I don't really know what they're talking about. But he does say, okay, and you know, it's still interesting. It's a point of note that they obviously still want high quality, right? Which would make sense, because why would you spend millions on all of these things that you're creating to produce it out there and it being absolutely trash quality? Of course they want the highest quality. It's an investment, isn't it? So, talking to The Verge, he says, I'm not going to have a featured dialogue with you, but as somebody that likes to get close to the metal, I can tell you that there's a lot of features and a lot of capabilities that we would have liked to launch with that we didn't. It just comes down to a matter of priority in getting a product to market. When you're asking about 4K and HDR and Atmos, not unimportant and definitely something on the roadmap, so it's not releasing with it. not releasing with it, which that's not particularly cool. But remember, you don't get true 4K on streaming anyway, so it's not a massive concern. Now it goes, it had to be a deliberate choice of what to launch with and when, and those trade-offs happen daily. It'll come, it wasn't forgotten. I think it was just a deliberate prioritization, which makes sense. But it also sounds like maybe they've rushed it. Do you see what I mean? Like, it sounds like maybe they've actually rushed this release. Which then I would ask, well, why? Why have you rushed this to market? Everything that they have is so high-end that they could release this next year, the year after that, and it wouldn't make a difference. So somewhat positive, somewhat concerning, but I hand it on over to you. What do you think? Let me know down below in the comment section. So first and foremost, like I said, we had the news on DUNE. Let me know your thoughts on that. Is that good? Is that bad? What do you think about it? Godzilla vs. Kong? Good news, bad news. That's an understatement by the director himself. Let me know. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, I have been Mr. H. Take care.